Hello, member. We are now heading towards our mid-year exams. It is time to reflect on the work covered thus far at school. This video follows up on the previous videos on algebra. In this lesson, we cover the factorization of binomials, trinomials, and polynomials that have a binomial factor. Use the video to measure your submitted work for these activities, and we will discuss in our live interaction the lessons learned and the reason behind errors you may have made. And lastly, member, please pay attention to the structure of the presentation of the steps, the mathematical correctness, and the professional look. Enjoy!
Right, member, let's go for it. So we are doing our odd alphabets, and the first one is, what is it? It is A, isn't it? Okay. So what did they give us for A? They gave us an x squared minus 25, and x squared is a square. The square root of x squared is what? It's x, isn't it? So we have x, and then we have a 5, and then it's a difference of two squares. So x and a 5, one of them is a negative, the other is a positive, and then we are done. Okay. Is it a trim smash? Nope. Let's see C. What did we have there? What was the trick here? They want to see that you are able to see that there is a common 3, isn't it? Factor 3. If I divide by 3 there, I'm left with 1 invisible, and then here it's 1, but I have to show it. Then 1 is a square, so they wanted to catch you here. X squared is a square, 1 is a square. So it means we are going to have two brackets, one positive, one negative. We don't throw away the 3. Okay. So it means if I multiply these two, I'll get that. If I multiply this factor and this factor bracket, I'll get that. Okay. So just be careful. Everything that is under there, it's part of the question. Any other calculations or whatever that you do, do it here. Okay. Please remember, just remember that. Okay. Then we have what in C? We have a 2x cubed y. Then we have a 18xy. So what's the first thing? Okay. Right, remember, I want to share something with you. Instead of getting confused and not getting anything, you can take it step by step until you are confident. You can see that now, okay, in the numbers, I can factor out the common highest factor. So you do what? You divide by 2. You leave the alphabets alone, okay? Then if you want, you say, let me look at one alphabet. Okay, you can see that there's x there, there's x there. So factor out one alphabet. There's power 3, and I'm factoring out power 1, so I must subtract when I divide. So I'll be left with a square and a y. I don't mess up with the 9, I leave it like that. X divided by x is 1, invisible, so we don't write. Then I have that, isn't it? Then I can see, oh, I still have another factor. I have a y, so I do what? I do 2xy. I'm gonna be left with the x squared, and then I'm gonna be left with a 9. Then you are done. Okay. Then when you start to gain your confidence, you can move from there and go straight there. Okay. So this is just for me to show you what happens in your mind. Okay. So you can do that as well. Are we good? All right. So let us see. What did I do? I wrote the wrong alphabet. That one was E, isn't it? Okay. So we go for G now, isn't it? Okay. So I'm going to write it here because I want everything to be in one frame. So this one was a E. I'm cheating like that. Okay. I'm cheating like that. So we are going for E now, isn't it? Okay. So if we go for E, G rather, what do we have? We have a negative 3a, a negative 6a, a negative 9ab. Okay. Right, so when you start to gain your confidence, you're going to say, I see a 3, and I see an A, and what else do I see? I see a negative, and then you go, this divided by itself is 1, okay? Then, what about this one? It's 2, isn't it? 2 of these make 6 of that, isn't it? So if I do it another way, I can say 6 divided by 3 is 2, and then 8 divided by A is 1, and I don't show the 1 because it's a factor. But I must now consider this is different terms. So this negative here, I mustn't ignore it. I have a negative. We go through this rules. If I multiply by negatives, I get a positive. If I divide by negatives, I get a positive. So it means here I'm going to have a positive. Okay. Then what about here? Here I'm going to have a 3, and the A is going to take care of itself. Then I'll have a B only. Then again I have a what is it that I'm going to have? I'm going to have a positive. Then there was a catch. What was the catch? They wanted you to see something which I'll address just now. So these two, they are similar terms. They are constants, isn't it? So if they are constants, I can add them. So they want to see that, am I going to see this? Then if I go further, I'm going to see that, shoo, I now have what? I have that situation now. What does it mean? It means I have another 3 there. Oh, so it means now outside I'm going to have a 3A. Then I'm also going to have another 3. They caught me here. They caught me here. So it means here I'm going to have a 1 because I am taking out this factor. And then I'm also taking out the factor. I'm going to have a B. And then I must multiply this. I'm going to have a negative 9A outside. I took a long way. Okay. But I want to leave this here so that you can learn from it. Okay. It's a nice one to catch you. But I'm showing it to you because the examiner can't penalize you if you took another route, isn't it? Okay. The way to solutions in mathematics are not always one. All right. If I was awake, I could have done what? I could have said this. Okay. They gave me negative 3A, and then they gave me negative 6A, and then they gave me negative 9AB. If I was awake, I was going to say, the first thing that we learned when we started algebra was dealing with like terms. It means these two are like because they have the same variable, same power, power 1. I can just add them. And they are both negative. So when I add them, I have 9A. Then what would I have seen? I would have seen that, I have a 9. And I have an A. And I have a negative. This go into this one once. This one goes into that one once. Okay. Right. The proper way is to do what? Is to say this term divided by the factor. Okay. So negative 9A divided by the factor negative 9A is 1. Then here I'll be left with 1 times B because negative 9A goes into negative 9A once, isn't it? So the 1 I don't write, so I'll be left with only a B. But remember, negative divided by negative, positive. Are they the same? Of course, they are the same. Okay, it's just that there I was still asleep. You see what happens? When you start an exam, sometimes you don't read properly. Sometimes it's not because you start. Sometimes it's because it's in the middle of an exam and you are nervous and you are not paying attention. But make sure you don't lose, okay? Because the examiner is going to say, okay, 1 mark you got the right factor, 1 mark you got the other factor correctly, okay? And then maybe they'll give you 1 mark for all of this. But this person will finish quicker because they'll get their 1 mark for this method. You get a mark for a method that took you 3 steps. They get a 1 mark for a method that took them 1 step. But both of you are Okay. Okay, remember? So, yeah, this one, nice one. Nice lesson for me and you there. Right, so let's do the last one here under this expressions. So we do what? We do J, isn't it? Okay, let's look at J. So with J, what did they give you? They gave you a -5. Right, let's go for it. A -5. 5 what? X squared y minus in 10xy minus 5y squared. Okay. Right, so this time you have the confidence again. You don't do it step by step, and you are also awake. In the previous one that we've just done, they tricked us. They wrote terms that are like, and if you look at the textbook, what do? They put G on top of J and J under G, because they want you to be caught, because you are going to do what now? You are going to say, oh, in the previous one I was supposed to add the -3 and the -6, and then you think you're going to do the same thing because you see an x and a y both sides. But these are not like terms, because this one has a power 2, this one has a power 1, so you can't take them as 1, so you can't add them. Okay, so here it means I see a 5. Do I have an x everywhere? No, I don't have an x everywhere. What do I have everywhere? In each term I have a y. Which is the smallest power? It is the invisible one. I also have a negative in all 3 terms, so I must factor out the negative. Then you just deal with the number first. -5 divided by -5, it will be a +1. This x squared doesn't have a partner, so I'm going to leave it like that. This divided by that one gives me a 1, so x squared times 1, it's x squared. I don't write the invisible one. I come here, then I say, okay, here, look at me, I'm in a rush to finish. I'm not supposed to even write the negative there. Okay, but I'll cheat. Let me go to the numbers first. 10 divided by 5 is what? It's 2. Okay. The x doesn't have any disturbance. I'll leave it like that. Then the y, also 1 power. Also 1 power. So they cancel out. Okay. They even out. They divide into each other. Then I must not forget the negative divided by the negative. So you cheat like that. Okay. You make it a positive. Then the last one here. What I'm going to have a 1, which is invisible. I don't write it because it's a product. Then the y, there's 1, and then there's 2. If I divide, I'm left with 1, and I don't write the 1. The negative and the negative, positive. Then I close my factor trinomial. Okay, factor bracket. Then I'll be done. You see, you can't add an x and an x squared. Even here, you can have an x squared y and an xy. And you can't add an xy with a y squared. You can't add an x and a y. You see, different ways of checking yourself. How was that, member? How many did you get correctly? All right, so go check your work and correct yourself. Then all you do now is that, okay, you've checked your corrections. You've seen if you are perfect. If you're perfect, you go to the next activity, rational expressions. Otherwise, you see that you are not perfect. You don't say, oh, okay, I see, and then wait for an exam or a test. You redo this again until you are perfect. I can leave it here, remember, isn't it? Okay, I think I can. All right, remember, we push ahead. We try now. Number 3, factorization. So we have our 3a. What did they give us there? Well, they gave us 6a to the 4, and then 4a to the 2. Okay. Right, so I'm going to do things bit by bit. I'm going to focus on the numbers. The HCF highest factor will be a 2, isn't it? So if I take out a 2, I will have a 3 there. And then what will I have? I will have a to the 4. Then I will have a 2, a to the 2. Okay. Then what do I do now? I look at my variables. and I see that there's an a both sides, so it means my 2 will be joined by the a, and which is the smallest power? The smallest power is 2. So if I divide by 2 exponents, what do? You simply subtract them, isn't it? So 4 minus 2 is a 2. Then my 3 still remains. No one has divided into it. Then I have 2 of these. They must go into that. We subtract them, isn't it? So we say 4 minus 2. So we're going to have a 2. And this, if you look at it, even if we did this directly, it was going to lead to what is going to happen now. Remember, we've done our part with the 2 there. So we're not going to use it again. So we're simply focusing on the variables. So how many times does this go into that? It goes once, isn't it? Okay. Right. So I think this was the catch. This was the catch, because outside you are going to have a 2a squared, and then inside you also have a 2. Okay, you're going to have a 2, just a 2. Okay, so this is a 2a squared because we divided by 2. Now the common factor is a squared. So from this a4, we'll be left with a2. And then this a squared and that a squared, what do? They cancel, isn't it? Okay. So it means I'll only be left with a 2, like that. Examiners, author, they try to trick us there, isn't it? Okay. And we stop here because this is a square, but this is not a square. This is also not a square. So we can't say difference of 2 squares. Okay. Right. Then we go to number C, isn't it? Okay. So for number C, whoa, they played with our mind there. So they gave us this, and what did they do? They gave us a 3 with a minus b. Okay, so here, what do we see? We see that we are not taking out a number or a variable. We are seeing a factor that is a binomial. So the one thing that is present on both sides of this operation is an a minus b. So if I take out a minus b, because it has this bracket, I'm going to do this so that you see that in my bracket I have this factor. Then what will be left now? I'll be left with that 2x and then that negative 3. And then I'll be done. But in the end, you don't need to do 2 brackets. So you can just say a minus b and then 2x minus 3. Okay. I think that's, yeah, take it that way, remember. I think there's not much else to, yeah, add there. Okay. Then what about E? Let's see. So in E, they give us what? They give us y minus z inside the bracket. And then what else? They give us negative 4. And then we have z minus y. Okay. Right. This was done fully in your class. If I remember, you were having this in your homework. So what is happening here? Here I have y minus z, but here I have z minus y. So if I rewrite this, I want to show you something. If I rewrite this to be like this, it is going to be negative 4. And then this negative y must come this side. And here we have an invisible plus. So this and this are the same. Okay. You see, there is a property in term 1 where you did what happens when you switch numbers, if it's a plus and a multiplication. You remember that those laws, I'm not telling you the name. So I've just swapped them. Ne? Okay. So if you know public transport, you should be able to get that word that I'm looking for. Then what happens now? How do I turn this into a positive? I turn it by a negative. How do I turn this into be a negative? I turn it by a negative. So I must divide by a negative, divide by negative. So if I divide by negative, it means it's like saying I'm taking out a common factor that is a number, but that number is what? It's -1, invisible one. Okay. So I have divided by negative, I get a positive. I divide by negative, I get a negative. So what's going to happen now? On both sides of the center operation, the center number, I have one factor that is identical to the other one. Okay. So if you look at this, what do we have? We have that and that. So if I take out this, I'll put one side. What will I be left with? I'll be left with an x. What else? This negative and that negative makes a positive. So I'm going to have a 4 there. Okay. That's what they wanted to see. Okay. So it was initially negative. So if these two were the same, even in position, I was going to have the same factor. This -4 would not be affected. But here, because I needed to swap these around, I've ended up changing, what is it? This sign here. Okay. So all in all, what am I saying? I'm saying here, you can write this one in another way. Let me show you. So there it is. So this can be written another way as an x and a y minus z. This is for this bracket. Then if I remove this bracket, I must multiply by a negative. So I'll have a +4. So this is what it should look like in your mind. Okay. Yeah, I think that's about it. Remember, that's the final solution. Okay. So we can go to another one, should we? Or should I say go and finish and see if you can do it perfectly again? Okay, I'm going to skip E, member, because it just, remember, I am doing E. What am I talking about? Okay, I'm skipping. Okay, oh, yeah, this one wasn't nice because I don't have one that is left for you now. Okay, it means you just need to repeat this one until you get it correctly. Okay. Let me see. Okay, there's another one which I did not do, which I think I must do. Let's do B. Okay, let's do B. Or should I leave B for you? No, I'm going to leave B for you. Do B for yourself. Should we do G? Yes, I think we can do G. Okay. So in G, what will I have in G? I have a trinomial, a tricycle of algebra. Some people are excited. I say tricycle, because you remember your grade 2. Okay. So here, what are the factors of 6? You remember when I used to say to you, when they ask you in question 1 about factors, write them like this so that you know which 2 make 6. You thought I was just being funny, remember? Right, so we have 2 and 3. Then what must we do now? We must ask ourselves, if I add these 2, which are positive, what do they give me? They will give me a 5. If I subtract these 2 numbers, I will get a -5 if I make them both negative. And then if I make the first one negative and the last one positive, I'll be left with a +1. And then if I swap around and I say I want the 2 to be positive and this one negative, this one is more to this one by what? By 1, but it is negative. Okay. Right. So now, which one do I want? What is the number that is there? It's an invisible one, and that number is negative. So it means I'm going to take these two numbers. So this one has a positive 2 and a negative 3, isn't it? So it's a negative 2, negative 3. Negative 2, positive 3. Here it's a positive 2 and a negative 3. So I take the positive and the negative 3. I put them like that, okay? And if I multiply these two, they will give me negative 6. I'll have a negative 3x and a 2x will give me negative x, okay? So that is our g, isn't it? Okay. Let me see. Should I do I? Okay, yeah. Let me end with I, okay? So with I, what did they give us? They gave us 2y squared, I almost wrote an x, plus 14y plus 24. What is common? Only the number. I don't have a y there. So remember, this one, it is a trinomial. It's an expression where we are factorizing. Okay, so just be careful. A 2 goes there once, so I'll have y squared. A 2 goes there 7, so I'll have a 7y. And a 2 goes there 12 times. Then what do I have now? I have something like this, which is there, but here everything is positive. Same situation, 1 times 12, 2 times 6, 3 times 4, 4 times 3, 6 times 2, 12. Then I see. These two, whatever I do like this, I'll get a 13 or an 11. These two, when I do like this, I'll get an 8 and a 4. You must do this, you'll see. And then these two, they'll give me a 1 or a 7. This time, it's going to give me a 7 because I want here. So everything is positive here. So it means my brackets as well will have positives inside. Then it's a y, and then it's a 3 and a 4. Okay, 3 plus 4 gives me 7. 3 times 4 gives me 12. I don't forget these two. Okay, it doesn't mean that you only focus on the brackets. Focus on everything and don't throw away anything along the way. Otherwise, you lose a mark if you don't put this thing here, that factor digit. Okay. All right, member. Yeah, I think what we can do, we can leave it here for our simplification. When you have mastered this, the rest will become easy. Okay. So question 4, 5, 6. If you were making mistake, learn from this one. And question 3, then you can try to see if you can correct what was in question 4. Okay, member, I think let's leave it here. We'll meet in another video. Thank you for being my member. So let us go to the simplification of algebraic fractions, and they have a special name. Look out for the video. Okay, member, keep pushing. Exams are coming close.